Welcome to the Reform Alliance Show, our very first episode, and we have a special brother here with us. We have Brother Rizza. Thank you for coming.
My brother, you already know.
Yes, sir.
Long time coming.
Yes, sir. So we're going to just touch bases on a message to the millennials and a bunch of different other things. I'm Gianni, and this is Dave. So welcome. Just kind of to dive into it, kind of let the people know exactly, kind of who you are, a little bit of background information about yourself and how, you kind of came into all of this a little bit.
Absolutely, man. I'm honored to be here with my brothers, man. Been doing a lot of work with them over the years. My name is Brother Rizza Islam. I am a activist, author, researcher, and humanitarian, and just a brother who's been working in the community for roughly 23 years now. So since I was about 12 years old. So just been doing as much as I can to help the people. It went from local to national and now international. And then of course met my brothers who are also doing some very good work.
Yes.
And this book actually I authored back in mid 2019. And basically a lot of the information that I was gathering over the years, I just put it in a book because I said, I'm sure they're going to start censoring people at a certain point. So I had to put it in a written form to where they couldn't take it away.
Right. Absolutely. Okay, cool. Just to kind of dive into a little bit about it, I wanted to touch bases on, you have a chapter in here where it kind of dives into social media.
Chapter 2.
Chapter 2, especially like a lot of these platforms are used to basically can have an effect on information, whether it be for monetized or financial gain, especially that information that can be passed from the bottom up as opposed to the top down.
Absolutely.
And kind of controlled, where they can control the narrative that is given to the people, and kind of dive into that and kind of talk to them a little bit about that.
Absolutely. I wrote that chapter specifically because once I looked at social media platforms, I said, okay, this is under the First Amendment of the United States Constitution, the freedom of religion, speech, press, petition, assembly. Well, freedom of speech has to be protected, but it's been attacked for quite some time.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, let's look at this. The U.S. government has the ability to have access to all your information, but they have all access to your information by willing participation.
Yeah.
So if I come up with a platform to where you can download it to your phone, I just let you download me into your phone.
Right.
It's the government talking. You put me inside your phone. Cool. So now, so I got everything, and my main reason for writing that primarily is because I said we have all of these platforms now, but we don't realize how they're being used entirely. We don't know what the purpose of them was. We think it's because they wanted us to find our cousin over in Africa or in Mississippi or something. No. It had nothing to do with that. They don't care that much, right? It was to instill a level of control. It was right after 9/11. And at that point, it was to look at how they could prevent, in their words, a future terrorist attack in any way, shape, or form. So they went and started focusing on a domestic terrorist type of maneuver, which is let us prevent potential attacks by investigating and really spying on our own citizens. Okay. So I said, as a result of that, I had to put this in a book and really arm the people with the information as to exactly how it started, what the first platforms were, and the whole overall reason.
So basically, you got the CIA in your phone.
Yeah,
in your pocket.
Got them all in there.
So there was if I understand correctly, then what you're talking about is really information for everybody.
Absolutely.
It's something that the entire world really should plug into because
Absolutely.
it's information that is absolutely necessary for us to understand.
Everyone who has a phone, it's non-religious, has no care for what race you are, doesn't matter what political status you are. If you have a phone, you're being spied on for the most part. That's what it is. It's an equal opportunity situation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. And you kind of touch base on what was called a good faith belief, sort of the metadata, and how you think, like, even when we going over that right now, I don't think they have a really full comprehension of how wide scale it is.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily have to feel like, we got your phone tapped and we listening to your conversation. It's more a collection of that specific data to determine maybe like who you're talking to.
Yeah, it's patterns, it's algorithms, it's the consistency of the numbers you call, the areas you visit. They build things based upon consistency, frequency, how often are you doing this or that, with whom, wherever you're doing it in and or at. It's very genius. It's how it goes. It's very simple. I mean, but again, we do it by willing participation.
Right.
So we have to be armed with that knowledge so that we know exactly how to get around it. But the main thing is, it's not about being fearful or afraid. It's about knowing what you're dealing with, so that you don't unknowingly put yourself out there or say certain things or do certain things that could get you in trouble, or that you unintentionally You're saying things that unintentionally will come back with negative results. So no, it's the metadata, that whole thing. I actually learned that from one of the individuals, not only Edward Snowden, but Glenn Greenwald, who was talking about how many emails, how many text messages, how many phone calls are recorded every single day. And once he went down that number, it blew my mind to such a degree. I'm like, do you know how much data? You need a building-sized computer to store all of this. Which they actually did come out with. I know you go ahead, go right into it. Come on, bro.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie, I don't never read my terms and agreement. When I get an update on my phone,
man,
I'm not about to go take an hour and read through the whole thing.
Right.
and kind of reverting to, and this kind of ties into when we get into the business of Reform Alliance with dealing with federal student loan debt.
Yes.
Because it's so censored in the aspect of they control the facts that are even given.
Yes.
Even if we're telling the truth on certain scenarios, they indoctrinate the people so much to where they feel like if the information isn't coming specifically from this source, it is wrong, or it can't be trusted, or you shouldn't deal with a specific person in order to seek help into getting an end result, especially if it's for financial gain at all, in any way, shape, or form.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
You getting help.
Oh yeah, no, really, it's a cold game, brother.
Yeah.
And the psychologists that they have in all of these industries, specifically social media, psychologists are the #1 group of employees because it's based upon algorithms of thought and intelligence. So they need people who think. They need to think. Oh, it's all day mental chess. That's why they ask you certain questions. What's on your mind? Post today. Hey, what know you didn't post today? It's all psychological. They give you a like, and they give you all these things that make you feel validation, and it helps to stimulate the dopamine, serotonin receptors in the brain to make you feel good about somebody liking what you said. And comment, bro, it is so cool.
I like when people like my pictures, man. I'm like, that picture booming, right. And I post, all right, we're gonna have some people reach out to us on that post right there.
I'm telling you.
But that was interesting in the book. You talked about when Facebook added the like feature.
Yes.
Just the growth.
Yes.
Of people on the platform went from like 40,000 to over 100 something or 500,000. Some ridiculous numbers. I don't know the exact
shot
numbers.
up to the millions, definitely.
But it was ridiculous, in a few months.
Yes, because people started noticing I can put something out there and get validated for it. I don't get validated at home. I don't get validated at work. Man, I've been doing all this work for years, and my children don't even say thank you, my wife, my people, whatever. So to get validated, it's a psychological feeling of acceptance. And they studied that, just like, as you noticed, from the consistency of how we maneuver. They said, oh, humans thrive on validation. So let's put the like button. They put the like button in separately. I want y'all to understand this. It was separate after studying us. They said put that in there, and they added other things. But yes, the growth came. Yes, because people love validation.
And what about, you kind of got into the FBI with Pensa and, and how they can share specific data, which pass through Messenger, which includes law enforcement, which is the 6th option. That's not even, they're the last person who get it.
Come on.
You know what I mean? Yes. So you see people, and I know this doesn't really tie into the business of what we doing, but you see people post guns, money, and all type of things on social media, and you be like, now why would you post that?
Come on.
And people say they watching, but they don't think they really understand,
they don't believe it.
That good faith belief, like, okay, this is all that we need in order to come knock at your door. And you even mentioned one time that you had FBI officials come to your door. I watched the Interstate 85 interview.
Oh yeah, 85 South.
The 85 South. Shout out DC Young Fly, Carlos, and all of them. And you kind of explained that happening.
Brother, I'll tell you, the good faith belief system, or what people will know when they get stopped as the reasonable suspicion. Police will say, okay, they have to have a reasonable suspicion in order to search, or even ask to search, etc. That good faith belief system on social media, if you read the terms and conditions, they talk about if there is something that we feel or see that may lead towards criminality, attack, trafficking, whatever. You know what? We'll go ahead and send it over.
Very easy.
I'm telling you, it's a cold game, because a lot of people have been brought to jail based upon posts that they made, even if it was just suspicion. Good faith belief. We believe. We believe. Not we know. Not it's factual, but we believe. But then people who also started posting things that were used as proof in court cases against them, that just wasn't intelligent at all. And I'm sure somebody with the student loans bought some guns with their student loan money. I'm just saying, I don't know the percentage, but I'm sure
for education
somebody did. But I'm sure I'm not saying that's what happens for the majority. But definitely, it's a very interesting system. And the FBI did visit your brother because of posts I made on social media. Facebook, this is before I had Instagram. They visited me because
Did they
of what
say
I
in
posted on Facebook.
particular maybe with the post, which post there
They
were?
printed it out.
What?
No, I want y'all to understand this. They pull up on you, and first of all, they show me their badge. It was a very large badge. I said, okay, you guys have a nice budget. I told them, I said, you have a nice budget. It's a nice badge. Whole mission statement. So I said, okay, good, you legit, got it.
All right.
They showed me a legal size printout of my last, I think, 10 or 12 posts at the time. This was in 2013. And I was looking, they said, is this you? They showed my DMV records. They were like, look, we just want to show you how legitimate we are. I said, okay, got it.
did our work.
Right, exactly. You did your work. Great. So they showed me the post, and I'm looking, they said, is this you? Did you post this? And I'm looking, I said, well, yeah, definitely. And mind you, nothing of a criminal nature, nothing. I mean, of course, yeah, that was me. Yeah. And they were like, so why did you say this about the White House? I said, there is a situation room. There's a doom clock. You guys do expose UFOs. I mean, they were just like shocked that I was admitted to it. Yeah. I mean, I didn't say anything of a criminal nature, but I wasn't supposed to know what I knew.
Yes.
All right, and I for damn sure wasn't supposed to post about it. No. Okay, because of that good old faith belief and the terms and conditions, you're not supposed to post certain information, and they did pull up. So it is a real thing.
Nice.
Yeah, bro.
Nice. That's crazy.
It's very real.
Any thoughts on that, Dave?
Just it's just a censorship thing that I think is really what it comes down to, and unfortunately, that's kind of the control, like you were saying, it leads into kind of how the student loan stuff and all that stuff. The control of information disclosure,
yes,
is how they kind of guide people's thought process. So when you speak on things that are absolutely just fundamentally just bam in your face, that's not what they want.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They want to be able to slide it into people's subliminal thought process, almost in a way that it's not true.
Right.
Yeah.
So that when it does come out,
Yeah.
they can say, well, you knew this all the time.
Oh, man.
We just didn't put it out there in front of you.
Yeah, and that's what they do. They'll blame you for it.
Yeah.
I mean, you knew.
Make it your fault. Come on now.
You pressed the okay, but you said this.
You agreed.
Oh, come on.
You mentioned, it just blew my mind because he started to read the book first and he gave me feedback and I was like, man, you gotta read this book, man. Go through it. Like, and I told him, I
was like, man, we better not come in here and talk this today. You ain't read this book.
Right.
I've read it twice now.
Oh, come on.
And initially I went through and I just kind of was scanning and I didn't go into more depth. And then he's like, you gotta read it. And as I read more in depth, I was like, man, a lot of what you talk about, and I will give you extreme credit, is almost, it's almost so obvious, it's just almost ridiculous.
Yes.
And that's why I initially said this book is for everybody.
Absolutely.
It's for people that just need to know the truth and open their ears up to hear it, because you're speaking something that I'm an older guy, so I've heard from family and friends, but hearing it from a younger cat, very sharp, I realize why there's a lot of young people that need to hear this, because for whatever reason they're not paying attention. And these are things that are out there that are just very blatant that the government does without no regard.
No, they don't hide it.
They don't hide any of this. And it's just a matter of really paying attention to what's going on in front of you.
Yeah, and that we're gonna get into that. That's John D. Rockefeller.
We
not right there right yet, but that's gonna tie into that thinking, that critical thinking, and just kind of controlling that narrative.
Yes.
And chapter 3, we're kind of going to go into FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover.
Of course.
COINTELPRO.
Oh.
That was established in 1956 to disrupt activities of the communist parties of the United States. As you have put it, like domestic groups such as the Ku Klux Klan, the Black Panthers, and so many what they would label extremist groups that are pro-self or whatever it may be. Kind of get into that a little bit.
Yeah, well, first of all, COINTELPRO is not over. It evolved. That's the number one thing we need to understand. It's not going.
In 71.
Oh, right, exactly. It stopped in 71 is what they say. That's interesting, right? They had to evolve it because the groups that they were targeting still exist. And at that time, in 1971, still existed.
Right.
They were still,
Getting
still
stronger.
up and getting stronger, making moves. So it's kind of like, no, they had to evolve it because it was so much in a blatant opposition to the United States Constitution. It was such an opposition to the fundamental principles of what they said the founding fathers stood on. So they had to evolve it to where it was not so in your face. They had to go underground with it. So social media, hence later on, that whole thing.
Yeah.
But in between that, they were targeting different organizations. The main groups that they were targeting were not the Ku Klux Klan and the Communist Party to a degree. The Nation of Islam is one. The Moorish Science Temple is another one. And there's a whole list. I mean, when I saw the list of groups they were targeting, I said, okay, they got white groups, black groups. Oh no, it's very extensive. But the way they were targeting, how many bugs they put, I would say, in the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad's home. How many bugs they put on Malcolm X's home. Then later on, how many bugs they put on the Honorable Mrs. Farrakhan's home. They were bugging people's homes. See, now we have phones. They were bugs at first.
Right.
Yeah.
And they were recording, listening to things. Martin Luther King, they bugged his hotel. They were really...
I seen that. And then send letters saying kill yourself.
Yeah.
And we're
going to expose this information and share with your wife.
Yeah.
Brother, it was cold game.
Yeah.
They were not playing. So they were investigating people, but it was really spying on those who primarily black people, because they said, specifically Jerry Hoover said, we must prevent the rise of a black messiah who can unify and electrify the people.
Right.
So we know the primary target was black folks. Then they went after other people as well. But the primary target was to make sure we were not going to come together to separate and do something for ourselves.
That part of the book was interesting. As personally, I'm a fraternity member, Omega Psi Phi.
Oh, my brother. Gotcha.
You know.
Yes, sir.
But one of the founding principles when we pledged was the reasoning for why fraternities were formed. Omegas, Kappas, all of them were formed so that young black people could get together in groups for safety. Because if you formed in groups of more than 3, you were assumed to be anti-government, which meant you were targeted. And so when I read that, I was like, this is the same reason that they go after groups. Yeah. It's the same reason that fraternities are so secretive about their initiation and their grouping. Because they were fearful that if they were seen to be, there's more than 3 or 4 of them together, it's got to be a problem.
Now, strong focus on the black attorneys. The other
ones,
black attorneys, do their thing, but
concerned about, but
that's interesting. Yeah, and you brought up the 3 or more, which is a part of the slave codes. Do not allow them to congregate within a certain number of people, or else they'd be considered a mob. That's why they pull up on us if we hang out on the corner, just talking about nothing, eating food, laughing. They pull up on you because you're not supposed to get together. You're just not. Especially,
I want you to unify.
Yeah, so that's a good point.
Also, it kind of irritated me a little bit dealing with in the book how they, in essence, have labeled, or a lot of people will label, and I can't generalize any specific nationality, race, ethnicity, or anything like that, but if you're pro-black, it doesn't mean that you're not that you don't like white people, that you don't like a specific race or ethnicity or any sort of group like that. But if you're pro-black, it's like they're saying like you're an extremist, or even you have mentioned like they said that if you're basically pro-black and you love yourself and you do things to better the situation or scenario or your community or surroundings, it's worse than. You're labeled worse than Al Qaeda.
Yeah, they actually said that.
Like for real.
They said you're worse than Al Qaeda.
I was like Al Qaeda.
I can't believe they said that. I mean, really, and that came down from the top. I mean, the director of the FBI, and then they published it. I believe it was in Newsweek. They said that black identity extremists are worse than Al Qaeda. I'm like, wow. So we're going back to the black man is inherently evil, wicked, a devil, a thug. He has this warrior gene that predisposes us to violence. Like this is how scientists, wicked, evil scientists, were trying to say we just naturally are just evil people. All right, this is just what we are. It's like that's very interesting to me. But Al Qaeda was created by the U.S. government. So see, you kind of trumped yourself right there. Yeah. All right, pardon the pun. All right, but you kind of like messed yourself up. Like you messed yourself up with that one because Al Qaeda was created by the U.S. government. That's an agreement. That's who Hillary Clinton even admitted later on when she was subpoenaed before Congress. She said, "You got to remember the people that were fighting today, 20 years ago, we funded."
Right, you give them money and the guns.
Oh, brother, so it's kind of like, wait a minute, it's kind of interesting. But brother, any of us, when we stand up and we have a high level of influence, intelligence, organization, and we want to do something good for our people, do something to separate from any of the evil systems that degrade us, destroy us, etc. Any of that, they call us an extremist. They labeled your brother an extremist right now. U.S. government, I'm labeled an extremist, a bigot, all this kind of stuff, and they came up with that title to resurrect COINTELPRO in the public. Okay, so they said BIEs, Black Identity Extremists. These are people who are going to stand up for themselves, defend themselves, like they say, attack police. Nobody out here attacking police, but we are going to defend ourselves against anybody who attacks us. That's as you should. That's a smart thing. I mean, everybody, I think,
everybody should do that.
Yeah.
But they say you're an extremist. It's kind of like, come on, guys. This is interesting.
And that made me think kind of like dealing with people, you have mentioned kind of the matrix, the system.
Oh yeah.
The system.
Oh, yeah.
And I've talked to I've had people call us for help and then say, this is what I know, and then proceed to tell us how to do our job after they've called for assistance with their stuff. This is what I know. I'm in this. This is the situation. This is how it should be. But in essence, they fight to not get on code. And when I say get on code, I just mean from the sense of when you make a person knowledgeable of where they stand, what their circumstances is, and how they could potentially fix that and to be in a different situation or scenario, but then yet they fight still because knowledge or information is not enough to just make a person make a decision.
Very true.
People like to buy, but they hate to be sold. You get what I mean? And so I kind of got that within the whole system of the Matrix and how this spiritual energy, and you kind of got into Neo, what it means, new or modern, and it's revived, and it's it's revived from something to become conscious. Means to step into an evolved or elevated and or an advanced level, and it's kind of like the system with student loans. Like I know dealing with in particular when we can literally help somebody. And we'll tell them, give them proof, give them a guarantee of services, and say, if this worst case scenario doesn't work, which we know it will work, because if it didn't work or we weren't able to guarantee that, we wouldn't have took your file.
Exactly.
Point blank period. And then they'll get off the phone, hang up, and call their servicer or call a student loan servicer and speak to them and say, hey man, and then they give them a quick 5-minute talk, and then they call back, say, man, I was told this and I was told that, and it's like,
you guys don't know what you're talking about.
Of course.
You don't know what you're talking about.
You know what, I'll tell you this, man, cognitive dissonance is very real, brother, because as you were mentioning, yes, people can be given certain amounts of information, they still won't take it and just run with it when it comes to bettering themselves.
Yes.
But they'll take it from people who want to keep them in the same condition or position. Why? Because it's easier to get that rather than working to change your condition. Even if you're paying somebody to help you to change it.
Yeah.
So I don't think it can happen because you don't believe in changing it because you don't want to work to make it happen.
Exactly.
A lot of people don't want to work. Like they really get stuck in being comfortable in this position. I already noticed with not only the student loan companies, but all these other situations that people look at, they don't want to make any effort to change anything because at this point they're like, look, I've been in this for this long, I've heard it from this many people, this many people. It's like, wait, that's all of them.
Yeah.
We know what we do over here.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
We know what we do over here. We have all of this experience. This is all we do.
Yeah.
So if we tell you this, as a matter of fact, we've shown you all of our other success stories. This is what happens. But the only thing is, you do need to put in some effort. Oh, I don't know about that. Then I don't think y'all. You got to put in some effort with anything you do. So I think that's mostly the issues that people really get stuck in. That's why I went into the matrix of the system within the system, because a lot of people are not even willing to change anything at all.
Yeah.
They are too comfortable where they are, and they're like, even if it's a negative situation,
Yeah.
I'd rather be here because I know this. Even though it's negative, I know this negative.
It's like some people thrive off the struggle.
Oh,
like
no.
it's the normacy of if you ain't struggling,
you ain't real. You ain't struggling.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
They want
Come
the
on.
path of least resistance.
Oh, come on,
They just
bro.
want to, with the least amount of effort, I want the biggest result. But
God.
we're going to do the work for you, but we need you to cooperate.
Yeah,
Mutual
some effort,
cooperation.
something. We'll do 95%, but can you give us 5?
Yeah.
Right.
Just, you got to do something.
Something.
Yes.
And just a quick question. I've often dealt with, and not just trying to help specifically our people, just anybody who needs assistance. What do you think in the process of trying to get people to be on the same page or stay on code? What is the hardest? Because I find that dealing with so many nationalities, ethnicities, and I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it on TV. Like it's really hard to help our people.
Absolutely.
They give the most resistance. They give me the most issues. And I say that not generally, but I feel like since they've been indoctrinated, it's so hard for them to trust. And I spend half of my time breaking down a wall in order to really assist them. And it's okay. I don't mind doing that if we're really going to get to some sort of end result.
Exactly.
But why do you feel like it's so hard for us to help us and actually see some sort of result from that?
Good question. Well, the first thing is we've been used to being lied to, mistreated, abused, etc. by our own people for so long as a byproduct of someone else doing it to us for so long. So we're now doing to ourselves what was already done to us. it is a systemic thing. It is subconscious. It is on remote control, and now it's on autopilot. It is what it is. So it took years for us to get into this condition. It's going to take years for us to get out of it. It took a lot of effort, work, momentum, energy to put us in this condition. It's going to take a lot of effort, work, momentum to get us out of it. So that's why it's difficult. And those who sincerely have love for the people are going to push through, like all of you, who keep doing this work. So.